Guys, welcome to Stacking the Shelves for the last month about, I guess. This will probably post March 25th, I think. Anyways, so these are the books I got in like the last 4 weeks. Again, I haven't been getting as many books. I have a lot of other stuff I'm working on right now, so I'm not reading quite as much. But I will go ahead and go through these. I did not get any books for review. If you remember, over Christmas break, I kind of got a whole bunch of books for review. I'm still working through those. Some of them publish April, May. So once I get through May, I may start looking for some more review books. But right now, I'm still working through the ones I had already requested. So I did buy 3 books, and these are all in series that I'm currently reading. The first one I bought is Spirit Guide, which is the 3rd book in the Madame Chalamet Ghost Mystery series by Bird Nash. This is a series, it's very much Victorian London, but it's not. It's an alternate world. And it's about a lady, Madame Chalamet, who can talk to ghosts, and she's getting pulled into all these mysteries to help the crown solve, basically. And I've really been enjoying them. Very nice. They're shorter books. Madame Chalamet has a very nice dry sense of humor. She ends up working with an investigator there who, I don't know, maybe a love interest, but he also has a very dry sense of humor. So just very entertaining to read. The next one I bought is Gina in the Last City on Earth, and this is book 9 in the Hilo series by Jude Winnick. This is a middle grade kids graphic novel fantasy series. I originally started reading because my son was reading it. He does not read it anymore. He is 16 now and does not read graphic novels. So I actually read this already. I really enjoyed it. These are just such fun books. They have a lot of friendship and family and monsters and action and fighting and magic. They're very well drawn and just fun to look at and read, and I would highly recommend that series. I think both adults who like fantasy graphic novels and kids would enjoy it. And then the last book I bought is A Whisper of Bone, which is the 6th book in the Elemental Steampunk Tale series by Anne Renwick. This is a kind of alternate historical fantasy. I do believe these are mostly set in London. Some of them are you end up in other parts of Europe, but it's kind of in that Victorian age. But there's elemental magic and some steampunk magic as well. And these elemental steampunk tales are not they're part of the elemental steampunk world, but they're kind of individual tales set in that world. I think most of her recent books have been these tales. There's also a main series in there and stuff like that. So if you go on Goodreads, you can click on the link to the whole world setup, and it lets you know where these tales happen within the timeline of the main series. So anyways, very excited to read that, and I will probably be reading that soon. I'm currently, I don't want to say stuck reading because it's been a really good book, but I'm reading The Bone Shard War for review by Andrea Stewart. So it's the final book in that series, the Drowned Empire series. And it is really long. It's 700 pages long or something. And I am reading it. I'm having trouble reading it fast though, because each chapter is 15 to 20 minutes long. I'm reading my Kindle, so it tells me that. But once I finish a chapter, I don't really want to sit down and read another 20-minute chapter. So I end up stopping. And because that is taking me a really long time to get through it, I am about 60% of the way through. And I think I have 5 hours left to read. It's a long book. It's been well done, but again, not one that's really grabbing me and pulling me in because it switches character viewpoints a lot. So anyways, that's kind of what I'm stuck on right now. And it's probably going to take me over a week to read that one book. So yeah, a lot of other books wait. All right, so I did get an audiobook that I listened to, and I think I might have gotten that one, so I'll mention that one. I can't remember if I talked about that in my last post, but I got The Queen's Rising, so book 1 in The Queen's Rising duology by Rebecca Ross. This is one of my top 20 books I wanted to read. I really liked Rebecca Ross's Sisters, I think it's Sisters of the Sword, and thought I would pick this up. I did finish listening to that last week, and it was okay. I wasn't a huge fan. It's a very politically driven fantasy where the heroine is a passion. So a passion means you're very studied in one area. And so she's a passion of knowledge, and she gets drawn into these politics, and some things that bothered me. I mean, the first book like really wraps up all the loose ends. I'm not even sure why you would read the second book of the duology unless you were really in love with this world and the characters, which I was not. The main heroine in there, she can do no wrong. Like, she's perfect. And the story just never gets very dire, or like, the whole thing seems a little anticlimactic. Like, even when they're trying to rebel in this kingdom, like, nothing a lot happens. Like, the battles are just not that serious, and things that happen just aren't that bad. And I'm not saying like you have to put your characters through torture every time you write them, but it just made everything seem a little bit like kind of a cakewalk for the main characters. So anyways, mini review on that. The other one I got on audiobook that I am currently listening to, which I can't remember if I mentioned in my last Stacking the Shelves, is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. This audiobook is quite long, and I got it through the library. I think it's about 20 hours, and it is taking me a while to get through it because I don't commute anymore, or very rarely into work. So I only listen to it when I'm like painting my nails or folding laundry or putting together a Lego set or something like that. And so it's taken me a while to get through that. So that's the other audiobook that I did borrow from the library. Then I got 5 books, either from my library on ebook or borrowed from Kindle Unlimited. The first one I got is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the first book in the Inheritance Games. I believe it's a trilogy. I really love this book. I did finish it. I immediately got the next book, which is also on this list. And that's The Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So I also have that to read. I have not gotten to that yet. Another one I borrowed from the library is Nightshades. So the first book in the Nightshades trilogy by Melissa F. Olson. She wrote the Boundary Magic series and a couple other series. She's been a bit hit or miss for me, and I did finish the first book in the Nightshades series, and I didn't really love it. It's a very much like investigative urban fantasy with vampires kind of thing, and I just didn't I didn't really like any characters. I didn't really enjoy the world, so I probably won't continue with that series. Then the other book I got through the library is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy by Megan Bannon. This is supposed to be kind of a cozy, like Victorian fantasy type of thing about, I believe it's about a girl who's an undertaker and somebody else. That's all I really know about it. I had been looking for some more like cozy fantasies to read, and that was one that came up on a list online, and I added it to my wish list at the library and got it. So I'm excited to read that. And then the last one I got was from Kindle Unlimited, and that is the second book in the Crystal Calamity series by Rachel Aaron. That's The Battle of Medicine Rock. And I really like the first book in the Crystal Calamity series. It's kind of an alternate historical fantasy western. It's set near Deadwood, but in a different place where they've discovered a type of magical crystal. Rather than a gold rush, there's like a magical crystal rush, and it involves a number of characters. One's a young woman who is half Lakota Indian and half not, so she doesn't have a very good place to stay, but she serves as a guide into these caves for mining. Then you have a character who is an heiress who's coming out to like start up the crystal mining operation that her uncle died doing, and so she's out there. And then you have this gunslinger character that's trying to revenge the death of her mother and sister. And so like all these characters come together. It was a lot of fun, like underground cave adventure stuff and creative monsters and magic and all of that, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm very excited to see how things wrap up in the Battle of Medicine Rock, since it is a duology, so that will be the final book in the series. So those are the books I got over the last month. Again, 3 that I bought, an audiobook, well, 2 audiobooks, so that's 5, and then 5 more that I either got from the library or Kindle Unlimited. We were just at Barnes & Noble last night, and I almost picked up some other books in paperback format, but I have been finding when I get paper books, I usually go ahead and borrow the book from the library anyways, because it's just easier to read. Like I can bring it in the bathtub, I can put it on my treadmill, I can make the text bigger, smaller. So I am trying not to buy as many paper books, even though I really like them, just because I always am getting the paper book and then I borrow it from the library anyways, because I would prefer to read it on my Kindle at this point. I am getting a little bit older, so it's nice to be able to make the text a little bit bigger and stuff like that. And then I guess the other thing is just in general, from a clutter and cleaning perspective, we have been getting rid. We did another, I did our clean out of some of the stuff back in this bookcase. And if we're not going to reread it, there's really no reason to keep it around, because I just end up having to clean around it all the time. So there's that. Other than that, we've been pretty busy the last month or so. I know I probably talked about we did a trip to Las Vegas. We got back and we've all been kind of sick from that off and on. My son is on spring break right now, so we've been taking a couple days off of work just to go do some fun stuff. We did another escape room. We're gonna go to the premiere of the Dungeons and Dragons movie. What was the other thing we did? I can't remember. Oh, we went down to a place called Can Wonderland in St. Paul here in Minnesota. That's got an indoor mini golf and vintage pinball machines and all of that. So we've been kind of running around doing stuff. It seems like it's been fairly busy, and I think part of that is we have some home projects going on too. We were having issues with our dryer vent, so we're having to vent to the inside of the house because the vent to the outside is blocked right now, and we can't get to it because of all the snow. Like it's 15 feet up and you can't get a ladder out in the snow because the snow is so icy and deep. And so we were having to install an indoor filter for that. We got a new bed mattress set up. Ours was really old, so we went with one of those ones that are adjustable, and that took a long time to set up. My husband wanted a barn door to block off his office area, and we built the door and we got ready to mount it and realized they don't have studs in the archway above the door. So we are going to have to rethink that. We're going to have to do a header board, and then we're going to have to stain that, and we can't stain right now. It's too cold to stain something outside, and we don't really want to bring it in the house to stain it. So now that project's kind of on hold. We're also talking about ripping up the carpet on our stairs inside, which is really bad, and replacing that either with wood or other carpet. But that's going to involve staining and a lot of cutting wood, and so we can't quite do that yet. So we're working on planning some of the stuff. And then I've been doing some stuff in my office here to kind of redesign it. I had kind of a nail polish station over here. It was taking up a lot of room. I got a small walking treadmill for my office, which is actually now what the camera tripod is standing on. So my office is getting kind of redone right now, and we're going to repaint it and stuff. So we just have a lot of home projects going on. I am still trying to modify my diet to eat more protein and doing a lot of weightlifting. So there's just been a lot of other things aside from books happening here. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed hearing about what books I got and a little life update. I hope that you have a great month, I guess, of reading ahead of you. I am not going to be doing my favorite books of February post because I only had one or two I really liked. So I'm going to combine that with the best books of March post. So it'll be the best books of February and March next month, just because I don't have much to talk about that I read in February that I really liked. And I honestly didn't read a ton of books in February. I think I read 8 or 9. So, definitely down on the reading. I'm not reading 30 books a month. I just have a lot going on. So, anyways, that being said, hope you got a lot of great books, and that you have a great month ahead of you. And I will talk to you next month for our Stacking the Shelves, and I will try to also do a best books of February and March early in April. So talk to you later. Bye.